Hey there, deep divers.
Yeah.
You know what keeps coming up again and again?
Yeah.
Student disengagement.
Absolutely.
And we're going to dive deep today into that.
I think this is something we can all relate to.
Absolutely. And like all our deep dives,
Yeah.
we're going to have actionable stuff that you can take away.
Love it.
So today we are looking at a blog post by Dr. Howie Knoff,
Okay.
president of Project Achieve Educational Solutions.
Right.
This post came out May 25, 2024.
Great post.
And we're going to go through it and figure out
Mm-hmm.
how can we help our students?
Yeah. You know what's so interesting is that we always hear about these national statistics on
Yeah.
student disengagement. But
Yeah.
what does that actually look like
Yeah,
in your own classroom,
exactly.
in your own school building?
That's what we're going to figure out.
Absolutely.
So first off, before we even get into any solutions,
Okay.
what does student disengagement actually look like?
Right.
Dr. Todoff gives us a bunch of examples,
Yeah.
like chronic absenteeism, not participating in class,
Mm-hmm.
even just wandering the classroom.
Yeah, like they're there, but they're not really there.
Exactly, like they're physically present,
Yeah.
but mentally checked out.
It's like they've tuned out the whole learning experience.
And he really emphasizes that what we see
Yeah.
on the surface,
Uh-huh.
those behaviors,
Right.
might just be symptoms of something else going on.
Absolutely. It's like we're only seeing the tip of the iceberg.
So I want to ask all of our listeners right now,
Okay.
what are some unique disengagement behaviors that you see
Mm-hmm.
in your own students?
What's that one thing that makes you think,
Yes.
something's not quite right here?
So once we figured that out,
Right.
we've seen the symptoms.
Uh-huh.
Now we have to figure out
Okay.
the why.
Why are our students checking out?
And Dr. Knoff gives us a really great framework to figure this out.
Okay. I love a good framework.
And he calls it
Yeah.
RIOTS.
Riots.
And this is not just data collection.
Right.
It's strategic information gathering.
I like that.
So RIOTS
Okay.
stands for review,
You review existing data.
create relationship maps,
Okay.
interview students,
Uh-huh.
observe interactions,
Mm-hmm.
talk to students,
Mm-hmm. Right.
survey students and staff.
Wow. So it's really about gathering information from all these different angles.
And one of the most interesting pieces of this was the relationship map.
Yes.
So tell us about the relationship map.
So the relationship map is really interesting because it's pretty simple,
Okay.
but it can be very powerful.
Okay.
So essentially, staff members assign points
Mm-hmm.
based on their relationships with
Oh.
each student.
So it's kind of like a temperature check of
The
like
exact-
how are the relationships going.
Exactly. How are those connections?
And then this shows us some patterns
Often it reveals these hidden patterns.
that we might not have seen otherwise.
Right. And insights that you wouldn't see just from a list of names.
Yeah, because then it's not just about the individual students,
Yeah.
but we're starting to see the
Yeah.
web of relationships around those students.
Exactly. And Dr. Knoff suggests taking it a step further and using what's called a sociogram,
Oh, a sociogram.
which visually maps out
Okay.
the peer support networks in the school.
So it's like a visual representation.
It's like a social X-ray
Oh, I like that.
showing you who's connected to whom
Okay.
and where those gaps might be.
So then we can really see,
Mm-hmm.
oh, okay, here's the social dynamics
Right.
that might be leading to disengagement.
It helps you move beyond assumptions and see that bigger picture.
So we've looked at the relationships between the staff and the student.
Yeah.
Now we have to actually talk to the student.
Yes. Get the student perspective.
Then figure out what is going on.
Right, because they're the ones living it.
Exactly.
So we need to hear from them directly.
And Dr. Knoff pulls some really great questions
Okay.
from the U.S. Department of Education's School Climate Survey.
I'm familiar with that one. It's got some great questions in there.
Yeah, so for example,
Yeah.
you can ask students to this school,
Mm-hmm.
try to stop bullying.
Oh, that's a good one.
Or you could ask them,
Yeah.
do you feel like your teachers care about you?
Wow.
And these are tough questions to ask,
Yeah, but think about the insights you could get.
but gives us such great information.
It's not about making assumptions.
Right.
It's about genuinely trying to understand
Yeah.
the student perspective
What is going
and
on?
giving them a voice
Yeah.
to tell us what's working,
Yes.
what's not what
Yeah.
they need.
Exactly.
And here's where Dr. Knoff says,
Okay.
the time to address this is not in the fall.
Oh,
It's now.
we have to start now.
We have to be proactive.
So we're not just passively
Right.
collecting all this information, filing it away,
Right.
and then we'll look at it in September.
Exactly.
We have to start now
We need a plan of attack
to figure out what we're going to do.
before the new school year even begins.
So he recommends
Yes.
spend the first couple days of school just building those relationships,
Absolutely.
setting a positive school climate.
So important.
And he gives us some great examples.
Okay, like what?
Team building activities,
Love it.
teaching those behavioral expectations, social skills training.
Okay,
So that
yeah.
instead of just jumping into the academics,
Right?
we're building that
And
foundation.
prioritizing connection,
Exactly.
belonging.
That sense of belonging.
Yeah.
And here's the great part.
Okay.
Those activities shouldn't just be random.
No,
They should be informed by
the information we gather
exactly
through the RIOTS process.
by the root causes that we discovered.
By those root causes.
So we're tailoring those first few days.
So we're personalizing it
exactly.
to address those specific needs.
So we're building a personalized roadmap for each school.
A roadmap for re-engagement.
And this is not just a classroom issue.
No, it's much bigger than that.
It's a whole school approach.
Absolutely. The whole school needs to be involved.
Dr. Knoff says everyone
Everyone,
from bus drivers, secretaries,
custodian,
custodians to create that supportive environment.
because every interaction a student has
Yes.
contributes to that overall school climate.
So it's that consistency.
That consistency is key.
If every student is valued.
And don't forget about the students themselves.
Oh, yes, peer-to-peer.
The power of peers is huge,
So student mentors, student leaders,
Yeah.
we can involve them.
even during the summer.
Yeah, before the school year even starts.
We can start building that positive peer culture.
So we're laying all this groundwork.
It's like setting the stage.
Now my question is, how do we keep this going?
That's the million-dollar question.
How do we keep this going?
And that's where those targeted interventions come in.
All right, so we're going to get into those interventions.
After a quick break.
We'll be right back. All right, so we laid that groundwork.
Yes, we did.
We know what disengagement looks like in our schools.
Right.
We use that RIOTS framework
Yes.
to uncover those root causes. And we kicked off the year strong
Right.
with all those relationship building activity.
So important.
But as we all know, disengagement
Yeah.
isn't a one-time fix.
It's a constant challenge.
So how do we adapt?
Right.
How do we keep this going?
And that's where those tailored interventions.
Okay.
That's
Yes.
it.
So tell me about those interventions.
Remember all that information we got
Yeah.
from the RIOTS.
All those individual and group needs.
That's it.
Now we can use all that.
Now we put it into action.
So cool.
Okay.
So what kind of interventions are we talking about?
Well, that's the beauty of it.
Okay.
There's no one size fits all.
Gotcha.
It's all about those specific needs
Okay.
you uncover.
So it's totally dependent
Yes.
on my school
On your school, on your students.
and my students.
Yeah. So for some, it might be extra academic support,
Okay.
maybe connecting them with a mentor,
Okay.
someone who really gets them.
Someone they can connect with.
Yeah. Or for others, it might be social skills training
Okay.
or counseling services.
So we're really meeting them
We meet them where they are
Where they're-
and give them those tools
Yeah.
to succeed.
and being flexible with that.
Absolutely, because what works for one student
Right.
might not work for another.
Of course.
And their needs might change
Right.
throughout the year.
So we're constantly
We have to be adaptable.
assessing
Yes.
and adjusting.
Continuous assessment and adjustment.
So it's like this feedback loop
Exactly like a feedback loop.
where we're just constantly refining
Always refining our
approach.
Yeah.
Now, this might sound really overwhelming.
I can see how it would.
Like, how am I going to make
Good
all these
night.
individualized plans?
Right.
But Dr. Knopf says
Yeah.
these interventions don't have to be
They don't have to be huge.
these huge, massive
These massive programs,
programs.
sometimes the smallest change
Yeah.
can make a world of difference.
So give me an example.
Okay, let's say you have a student
Okay.
who's chronically absent.
Okay, I've seen that.
You talk to them,
Yeah.
you talk to their parents, and you discover they're feeling overwhelmed
Right.
by the workload.
Right.
Maybe they have responsibilities
Right.
outside of school.
Or they're just struggling to keep up.
Yeah, they just can't keep up.
I've seen that.
So instead of just saying, oh, you're absent,
Right.
adding more pressure,
Yeah.
a simple intervention might be
Okay.
to work with them to
Okay.
create a more manageable schedule.
Okay.
Maybe you break down assignments.
Okay. Okay.
into smaller chunks.
Yeah.
Maybe give them extra time
Oh.
or explore alternative ways
Okay.
for them to demonstrate their learning.
So we're removing those barriers
We remove the barriers
for them to engage.
and we create that pathway for them to re-engage.
And we celebrate
those
little wins.
Every little win.
Because those matter.
Because that can boost their confidence.
Yes.
And their motivation.
So we've talked about individual students.
Right.
Now what about
Okay.
the school as a whole?
Yeah, those school-wide initiatives.
What can we do there?
Well, this goes back to those root causes that they uncovered.
With the RIOTS.
RIOTS.
So if we noticed
Yeah.
that a lot of our students are disengaged because they lack that sense of belonging,
Right.
then we can create programs
that build community.
that build that community.
Yeah.
So like school-wide events.
Yeah, school-wide events.
Peer mentoring programs.
Peer mentoring.
Just more opportunity.
More chances for them to connect.
For them to connect.
To feel like they're part of something bigger than themselves.
Or maybe the RIOTS process showed us that our discipline policies
interesting.
are actually making things worse.
Right. Are they pushing kids away?
Yeah. Are they punitive?
Are they punitive?
Or are they restorative?
Right. Are they focused on building relationships?
Yeah.
Or isolation?
Because if students feel like they're constantly being punished or judged,
they're going to shut down.
They're not going to want to be there.
They're going to disengage.
And we also have to keep those lines of communication open.
Open communication is so important.
With students.
With students.
With parents.
With parents.
With staff.
With staff.
Everyone
needs to feel heard. Supported.
And like they have that space to share.
It's about creating that culture of feedback and responsiveness.
Where we are constantly
learning and listening.
And adjusting.
It's not about finding.
It's not about that magic solution.
The magic solution.
It's about continuous improvement.
That mindset.
Yes.
Of how can we be better? How can we make this better for our students?
Because it's not about checking a box.
It's not about checking boxes.
It's about creating a space.
It's about creating an environment
where students can thrive.
Where they feel valued, challenged,
supported,
safe to take risks.
Yes.
Make mistakes.
So important.
And ultimately thrive.
We're empowering them.
We are to be active participants.
In their own learning.
In their learning journey.
Okay, so we've talked about all these different things.
We have.
But you mentioned earlier.
Yes.
It's not just about
what we do. It's about who we are.
What does that mean?
Our attitudes, our beliefs, our interactions with students, all of that contributes to that overall school climate.
So if we are approaching our students with negativity or skepticism,
they're going to pick up on that.
They're going to feel that.
Like this energy that permeates the whole learning environment.
So we have to model. That engagement.
That enthusiasm.
We want them to have.
We have to believe in them.
Yeah.
Even when they're making it hard to believe in them.
Because if we don't believe in them, who will?
Exactly. We have to hold on to that hope.
We have to.
Even when it's tough.
Even when it's really tough.
Because it's not always easy.
It's not always easy, but it's so worth it.
And sometimes we're going to question.
Of course we are.
What we're doing.
We're going to question our impact.
Yeah.
We're going to feel frustrated.
Discouraged.
But
those small actions. Have a ripple effect.
They really do.
That one conversation.
Yeah.
Genuine moment.
That moment of connection.
That connection.
That can change everything.
It
can plant a seed.
And the more that we do that.
The more we cultivate those positive interactions.
We're shifting the entire.
You shift the whole climate of our school.
The whole school climate.
So it's not about one solution.
No.
It's about
all these things. Working together. To create that environment.
Where everyone
feels supported. And valued.
And empowered to engage.
So as we kind of wrap up this section.
Okay.
I want to go back to something you said.
Yes.
About involving everybody.
Yes.
Why is that so important?
Because re-engagement.
Yeah.
It's not just the teacher's job.
Right.
It's not just the principal's job.
It's all of us.
It's a collective effort.
So how do we get everyone on the same page?
Communication.
Okay.
We need to be communicating clearly.
About the goals.
About the goals.
The strategies.
The strategies.
Everyone's role.
What role everyone plays.
In supporting
student engagement.
And we need to collaborate.
We need to collaborate.
On those decisions.
Yeah. Shared decision.
Shared decision making. When everyone feels like they're part of the solution,
yeah,
they're more invested in the outcome.
So we all have that ownership and accountability. And along the way, we celebrate those successes.
Absolutely. We celebrate those wins.
To keep us going.
To keep that momentum going.
To remind us why we're doing this.
Why we do this work.
Because it's all about
the students making a difference in their lives.
So we've talked about the what.
The what?
The how.
How.
Now I want to talk about the why.
A why.
Why is this work so important?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And for me, the answer is simple.
Okay.
Every student deserves the opportunity to reach their full potential.
I love that.
And when students are disengaged, they're missing out.
On so much.
On so much more than just academics.
It's more than just the content.
It's about those essential skills. Those relationships.
That are going to help them.
That will help them succeed in life. So it's not just about grades.
Right.
It's not about test scores.
It's about those skills.
It's about fostering curiosity.
Yes.
Resilience.
Yes.
Perseverance.
Things you can't measure.
You can't measure it, but it's so important. It's about helping them become lifelong learners.
Yes.
Engaged citizens.
Who can go out
and contribute to the world.
Make a difference.
And
seeing that.
And that's what makes it all worth it.
A student who is disengaged now is thriving.
To see that spark reignited, that passion for learning come back.
I love that.
That belief in themselves.
That's what it's all about.
That's what makes this work so fulfilling.
Knowing we can make that difference.
Knowing that we have that power.
Even if it's just one student.
Even if it's just one student.
It matters.
It matters.
So much.
Because those small actions can have that ripple effect.
They can have that ripple effect.
We can create that positive, supportive learning environment for everyone.
Okay, so we've covered so much.
So much.
What's the one thing?
What's the one key takeaway?
You want our listeners.
I want them to walk away knowing
with
that proactive planning based on a deep understanding of your students' needs is the key to combating disengagement.
So before we go,
I
want to ask our listeners.
Okay.
What is one action step?
One action step
you will take this week. Based on what you've learned today.
It doesn't have to be huge.
Just one thing.
One small step in the right direction.
Because those small steps. Add up.
The big change.
Your big change. So never underestimate.
Your power. To make a difference. In the lives of your students. That's what it's all about.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for being here.
On this deep dive. Into student disengagement.
We'll see you next time.
You know, we've been talking about so much today.
We have.
About student disengagement. But the thing that I keep coming back to is that it's about more than just like strategies.
Right. It's not just a checklist.
Yeah, it's a perspective shift.
It's a mindset shift.
Recognizing the potential.
Seeing that potential.
In every student.
Yeah, even when they're struggling. Even when they're pushing back.
Even when it's hard.
There's that spark.
Yeah.
Waiting to be ignited.
Like we're holding up a mirror.
We are.
And saying like,
hey.
We see you.
We see you.
We believe in you.
We believe in you.
And we're here to support you.
And sometimes that's all it takes.
For them to
turn it around.
To unlock that engagement.
And that belief.
That belief.
Is so powerful.
It's powerful.
It creates that safe space.
It does.
For them to make mistakes.
To take risks.
To explore. To grow.
Without judgment.
Without fear.
And when they have that. They can really start to engage.
It can push their boundaries.
With learning.
Yeah, they can really dive in.
And that belief.
Yeah.
Isn't something we can teach.
No.
Or measure.
You can't quantify it.
It's just who we are.
It's that intrinsic motivation.
As educators.
Yeah, it's that commitment.
To seeing the best.
To seeing the best in our students.
Even when
they're not showing us their best.
We have to hold on to that hope.
We do.
That optimism.
Because if we give up on them.
Who will?
Exactly.
And it's not always easy.
No.
We're going to have days where we're frustrated.
And I feel discouraged.
But those small actions.
It's those small actions.
They matter.
They matter.
That one conversation.
Yeah.
That moment of connection.
That moment of genuine care.
Can make all the difference.
It can plant a seed.
And the more we do that.
Yes.
The more we shift.
The more we shift the climate.
The whole school climate.
The whole school climate.
To a place where students feel.
Where they feel seen.
Safe.
Valued.
Empowered to engage.
So as we wrap up.
Okay.
This deep dive.
Yeah.
I want to challenge our listeners.
Okay.
What is one thing?
One thing.
You will do differently tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Create that.
Yeah.
Engaging.
That supportive.
Learning environment.
Learning environment.
It doesn't have to be big.
It could be so small.
Maybe you greet each student by name.
Yeah.
Maybe you offer a genuine compliment.
Or just really listen.
Just really listen.
When they speak.
To what they have to say.
Because it shows them.
It shows them we care.
We see them.
We believe in them.
We're invested.
Yeah, we're invested in their success.
Because when we invest in our students.
When we invest in our students.
We're shaping their future.
We're shaping the future.
And the future of education.
And the future of education.
So remember.
You don't have to do this alone.
Reach out to your colleagues.
Collaborate.
Share.
Share your successes.
Their successes.
Your challenges.
Because together.
We
can make a difference.
We can create a world where every student thrives.
Thanks for joining us.
It's been a pleasure.
For this deep dive.
Until next time.
Until next time, keep diving deep.
Keep diving deep.
Keep believing in education.
Yes.
And keep those sparks.
Keep those sparks.
Of engagement.
Burning bright.
See you next time.